Yes, guys, yes, you made it. Congratulations, you made it to the best films of 2025. This is always an exciting time where I count down my favorite films of the year. It's always good to talk about stuff that you love. 2025 was a great year for film, and yeah, these are my top 15 favorite films. It was a little bit tricky to do this to also rank them. It's always tricky, but as well with lists, they're always subject to change, most likely over time. Number one might be different, or number seven might be different. You get the point. But yeah, I think it's just gonna be good to talk about the stuff that I loved. I saw an all right amount of films. I saw about maybe 35, which I wish I saw a bit more, but as well, I think I saw everything that I would have put on this list. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, there wasn't any movies that I was like, okay, that movie I would probably love it. It would probably be on the list. I kind of just stayed away from the movies that were just or bad. I was just like, I don't need to waste my time with that. Maybe that's this year, 2026. I'll watch more bad movies. But yeah, I kind of just stayed away from the bad stuff, which is fine, because I'm here to talk about the good stuff. Before the 15, let me just get out some honorable mentions. Starting off with Die My Love, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson, Lyndon Ramsey. That was pretty good. The Mastermind, also a pretty good film with Kelly Reichardt, Josh O'Connor. The Naked Gun, one of the funniest movies that I saw this year. Really surprised how much I liked it. I'm not a huge fan of the original, but I really, really dug this one. And then also last honorable mention is going to be Hamnet. This is one that I wish it was a bit higher on my list, or made the list. I think over time I'll probably love and appreciate it more. Just where I'm at now, it didn't make the list. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Hamnet fans. No, I totally understand the hype and the praise over Hamnet. It just didn't click with me as much as I wish it did. But let's just get into the list, guys. Let's just get into it. Number 15 is Sorry Baby. This is the directorial debut from Eva Victor. They also star in this film. So it's definitely just their vision throughout this. And I think it's a film that tackles serious subject matter, but it's also a film that finds the humor from that, or has, kind of awkward comedic stuff throughout. And I think managing to balance that was really great, and it definitely paid off, and it was executed really well. I think given a different director or a different execution, it would have been really poorly done in terms of balancing the tone and whatnot. But yeah, just really, really good stuff. Number 14 is Weapons. One of my favorite blockbusters of the year. Super thrilling stuff. Love the little horror side to it all. As well, the way it shifts perspectives throughout, and then we're seeing different characters' interpretation of what's happening. Really, really builds, and found that really worked with the story. I'm curious to see how it holds up for me on a rewatch, just because the mystery, once you kind of know what's happening, the film isn't as engaging for me. Not to say it wasn't entertaining. I think just there was a lot more. I was more engaged just with how this thing was going to build up, and then when it is revealed, there wasn't as much oomph to it, I guess. So I'm curious to see how it would be like on rewatch. Number 13 is The Phoenician Scheme, another Wes Anderson. And this one, I guess, kind of underrated. I think I liked it the most out of his most recent films within the 2020s. Like, I do really like French Dispatch. I do really like Asteroid City. But I think this one has a little bit more to it. And I think because of Benicio del Toro, his performance and as well his character is a little bit more different than your typical Wes Anderson, like deadpan type character. I think with Asteroid City, French Dispatch, that's kind of all the characters. They're all just this typical deadpan, dry kind of character. And I think those movies are really, really good. But after a while, it just becomes a little redundant. But this one, I found that Benicio del Toro really had a good dynamic with the other characters as well. Michael Cera is great in this. Pretty funny film. Yeah. Number 12 is The Smashing Machine with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And I'm not really a fan of Dwayne Johnson as an actor. Of course, he just kind of plays the typical macho action star in his stuff, and he kind of does the same thing. But this is different. And I think this is a film that he's like very perfectly casted in. And why I say that is because he plays a fighter, Mark Kerr, and this is a person who kind of puts on a facade throughout the whole movie. Like they're trying to show that they are the best, and they're a true hero, they're a true winner, and they're putting on this like really fake smile. But then behind the scenes, you see how kind of corrupt they are, or just how broken they are as a person. And switching back and forth from scenes in the ring or scenes where he's trying to put on this nice guy face, and then you go back home and he's a total monster kind of guy. I found that worked well with his performance, just because it's it's just very, very interesting seeing The Rock in this type of role, but it's really exciting too. And I don't think we're going to get anything like this ever. I think this is kind of, I'm not saying like The Rock can't do great stuff, but I don't think we're going to get a type of role where he's playing this type of character. So it was very interesting seeing that. But I think the story is a little bit more slower paced, so I do understand why people kind of didn't click with it as much. And as well, it's a film that with a rewatch, my opinions might change. But for now, I was fine with the slower pace. Like it is a slower build, but I found the themes throughout were kind of hit home and were very, very interesting to see. And also the score by, I'm going to put their name on the screen just because I forget their name, but super cool, super like spacey, kind of jazzy, really fits the vibe that Benny was going for, Benny Safdie. Just great. Number 11 is going to be It Was Just an Accident. This is one that I recently saw and didn't have any expectations for it. I just knew that it won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. But yeah, really kind of surprised me, and it's one that has left an impact on me, and I think it's because of how it slowly builds tension throughout, and we're getting more and more from different characters throughout. I don't want to get into the plot at all, just because it's a good film just to go in completely blind. I haven't seen anyone make this comparison yet, and I'm not sure if it's just me or if anyone else is feeling this way, but this film has similar themes as Begonia, and if you've seen both the films, you might understand what I'm talking about, where it's dealing with powerful authorities and kind of people rebelling against them, and trying to figure out right versus wrong. And I felt that this film did it in a more thoughtful and sincere way. I think they're definitely, the way they execute their themes are completely different, but I think it has similar beats as Begonia, and that was a film that I wasn't really crazy about, but I thought this one executed in a more thoughtful and sincere way. All right, guys, getting to the top 10. Might be a little weird, might be a little crazy, might be some hot takes, don't know. But number 10 is going to be Mickey 17, and this is one that I saw at the start of the year. So my memory is a little bit foggy, but I still really like it. And it's definitely like a very bold and very unique kind of film, and Bong Joon-ho is a director who can pull that off, and he does really well in this film. Like Robert Pattinson's weird little voice that he does throughout. He's playing clone versions of himself throughout the film. So this could be something that could be really annoying or just a lot, but it's really well done and I really like it. This is definitely like Bong Joon-ho's silliest film. I think he does have films that kind of tap into that. Like The Host has kind of elements that are a little goofy and over the top, and I think there's a couple other ones that have that. But this is definitely like his silliest, but kind of boldest film, and I really liked it. Coming in at number 9 is going to be another film from a South Korean director. It is none other than Park Chan-wook with No Other Choice. This is a film that just has a very fresh kind of perspective, and I think with South Korean cinema, they always bring this very interesting and fresh perspective on certain themes, especially with class, and this film does it especially really well. I'm more generalizing it, but as well with Park Chan-wook's films and the stuff that he's done, he's really good at balancing very like intense, kind of messed up, dark elements and themes, but also kind of having comedy and having levity to it, and he does that in this film as well. There's a lot of stuff that it's like, oh, this is messed up, but the way the film handles it is much different than a traditional American film, so I thought that was really cool. Acting is just great. The guy from Squid Games, I forget his name, I'm going to put his name here, but he is the main character, and he's great in this. He's kind of silly, and it's kind of great. But yeah, definitely a very interesting film, something to watch if you're craving something a little bit different. Number 8 is going to be Sentimental Value, and this is one that's getting a lot of Oscar buzz, which is exciting. And the director did The Worst Person in the World, which is like literally me. That film is literally about me. Guys, why did you make... There was a lot of buzz with that one too, and I wasn't as crazy about it, but I think both of these films are films that tackle, relationships and very adult themes, more mature themes, just in terms of, this one deals with parenthood and being a father. And why I bring this up is just because I saw The Worst Person in the World when I was 17, 18, and didn't have as much life experience, or didn't really have any life experience. So I think these are films that will definitely grow on me with time, and I think just the way they approach it. But I think I did kind of see the vision with this one. I did connect a little bit more to this film more than Worst Person in the World, and I'm very curious to see how Worst Person in the World, over time, how well it does on rewatch for me. But this is a film that I can definitely see myself becoming more fond of, just with time passing and becoming older and that stuff. It tackles complicated relationships, but it does it in a subtle way that I found really well done to this film. And I think a lot of other films would tackle it in a more over-the-top, exaggerated way, but this feels very real, and it feels very true to what it's trying to say, and it feels very personable. And it's a film that's really stuck with me more than I thought it would. And as well, the ending, man, I just love the song that plays at the end. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just like a beautiful ending. And it's one of those endings that when watching it, I was just like, it kind of clicked, and I was like, oh, wow. It was really cool. And it's one of my favorite endings of the year. And yeah, for the ending alone, I would recommend it. Number 7 is Eddington, and this is one that I'm kind of surprised is this high, and I'm kind of surprised that I liked it this much. But it's one that I found really interesting, and it's something that tackles the political themes and the stuff that was happening in 2020, but it does it in an interesting way, where it's showing all of these characters' kind of ideologies and their take on what's happening, or their take on what should be happening, or whatnot. But it's kind of just making fun of everyone, where maybe it's kind of cruel to do that, but I think the way Ari Aster handles it is very interesting, where he's not specifically taking a side, he's just kind of poking fun at everyone, but he's doing it in kind of like a cringy, uncomfortable way, where it's just like, oh, this is kind of weird, but it's kind of funny. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's one that I might need to check it out on a rewatch just to see how much it holds up. And I do understand why people might be a little turned off by it. I think because I'm not American, there's certain stuff that I'm aware of, but I wasn't deeply connected with in terms of what was happening in 2020. There's definitely aspects that I relate to and stuff that I was like, right, this is what happened. And I'm aware of all the stuff, the stuff from real life that they put in this film. But I see a lot of people talking about how uncomfortable it made them just because it reminded them of that year, and I definitely understand that. But I think because I was more of an outsider in terms of like what was happening in America, I was able to kind of disconnect from that and kind of watch it as a movie. So I don't know if that kind of helped with how much I liked it. But I think just technical aspects aside and that stuff and what the performances are great. I think a couple performances are underutilized, like Emma Stone, Austin Butler. I wish I would have seen them a bit more, but I think what we get as the end result is really well done, and it kind of goes in a different direction than what I expected, and it turned into something very interesting, which I thought was really cool. Number 6 is going to be If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. What a strange freaking name. What a dumbass name. Just kidding, guys. That's actually a pretty cool title for your film. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Yeah, biggest surprise of the year for me. Just because I was interested in seeing this film, but I wasn't sure what to expect. And it's a film, a lot of people comparing it like, oh, this is like the Uncut Gems of, being a mom or whatever. And that's true. That is true. I will say. And as well, no one's pointing this out, but the film is a directorial debut of Mary Bronstein, who is the wife of Ronald Bronstein, who is a co-writer on Safdie projects like Good Time, Uncut Gems, Marty Supreme. So it makes sense why it feels like an Uncut Gems, man. No one's bringing this up. Am I the only one who knew this? Guys, am I the only one who's actually smart? No, guys, just kidding. But yeah, I think because I'm a fan of the Safdies and their style and that, this really clicked with me just because it's one that kind of just is relentless. It just keeps going. In the whole film of this mother who has this child, and there's problems with her, and there's problems with their house, and they need to move houses, they need to go to a hotel, and throughout this, the child has weird issues, and then she needs to do this, and the whole film, everyone seems to be against her, and she's just going through all of these things, and it just keeps building and building and building. And for a film about being a mom, it is super stressful. And I feel like moms probably won't want to watch this film because of how stressful it is. But man, it was such a good, just fresh and really engaging film. And yeah, maybe you'll get a panic attack. Just kidding. Hopefully you don't. Number 5 is going to be Sinners. This is one that I saw earlier in the year, and I've been dying to rewatch it. I haven't yet, but I definitely want to watch it again just because, yeah, I remember the experience was really great. Seeing it in IMAX was super cool, but it's one that I think I'll probably like even more. This is a film that's packed with so many just great moments, like I'm replaying them in my mind. As well, the score by Ludwig Göransson. I forget how to pronounce it. But yeah, that score and the way it kind of takes themes and it takes stylistic stuff from different movies, from different eras and different genres, just blends it into its own thing. I found that was like the coolest thing about this, how it blends like gangster and vampire films, and it does all of these things. And as well, the score is a perfect representation of how it does that. Like, we're getting kind of like country twangs mixed with this big booming score, and it's just like gives me chills. Such an entertaining film. Michael B. Jordan plays 2 dudes, not just one but 2. So I think that's worth mentioning, and that's awesome. It's a film that is definitely going to be like the best of the decade in a lot of people's minds, which is great because it definitely deserves it, and it's so big and grandiose and has so many awesome stuff. Number 4 is going to be Friendship, and this is one that I'm kind of surprised it's this high for me, but I mean, I love Tim Robinson, so of course it's this high. Yeah, I think just everything worked for me in this film. Like I Think You Should Leave, and as well I talked about The Chair Company last video. I just really appreciate what Tim Robinson is able to do and how he's this funny but without being annoying. Like his style of comedy is something that I can understand why people might be annoyed by, but for me it just kind of works. How repetitive and how big and loud it can be, that kind of makes it even more funnier. How exaggerated he is, and that's not the only thing that makes him funny. I'm not saying he's loud, that makes him funny. He's a very smart and talented comedian, and that shows in this film. And this type of character is such a funny, it's also just a funny and stupid concept, but it's executed in the most extreme way possible that you're just like, well, this is kind of crazy. And then the duo between him and Paul Rudd and this little like weird bromance that they have. And then it's like so stupid, but I was like, wait, this is awesome. Like, and then as well, the stylistic approach, like the cinematography and the score is also something like interesting for a movie of this kind. I guess like with a typical straight comedy like this, typically they're just kind of like easy medium wide shots and then basic score or whatever. Kind of, they don't put much thought, but the stylistic approach definitely elevate it for sure and give it a little bit more of an edge, which I loved. So we're finally here. It's the top 3. These are kind of like the peak, the kind of the greats of the list for me. I think with the films at the rest of the list, I think I can easily see them changing or swapping, but these are definitely like, I saw all 3 of these movies and I was like, this is great. These are great. These are awesome. I'm going to want to rewatch them more and more and more. So starting off, the top 3 is going to be Wake Up Dead Man. This is a Knives Out film, just in case you were confused. And I'm kind of surprised that a lot of other people haven't really put this on their best of the year list. I thought the general consensus was that this was good. But yeah, I'm just a fan of the Knives Out stuff. Rian Johnson, make as much as you want, man. These are kind of awesome. I mean, Knives Out 1 is always going to be my favorite. Glass Onion, I didn't love as much, but I feel like Wake Up Dead Man kind of goes back to the first Knives Out in terms of kind of scope. I found that Glass Onion was a little, it's more ambitious, and there's a lot going on that it doesn't feel as like tangible. This one feels you're more connected to the cast, and especially Josh O'Connor is such a great addition to this cast, and he's someone that brings so much light and like levity, but is also a complex character, and there's stuff about his past, and there's interesting stuff that they do with this character that they put into this, and I thought it was really great. I think it tackles like the themes of religion and faith and spirituality. It tackles it in a great way where, yes, they're showing kind of the hatred behind spirituality and kind of like a closed-mindedness. But as well, it's not just showing you the dark side, or it's not just showing you the ugliness to it. It's kind of showing everything in it, and it shows spirituality and faith through all of these characters and their own kind of story with it and their own perspective on it. So I thought that was really interesting. But as well, the mystery, like the whole thing with Knives Out movies is that they have like a kind of cool and engaging mystery plot, and this does it as well. Just everything kind of worked with me. Also a really funny movie, and definitely one that I can see myself wanting to rewatch again. Number one and two, I've been flip-flopping. I've been tossing and turning on these ones. I'm not sure where I stand. But number 2 is going to be Marty Supreme. That's right, guys. Marty Supreme. Of course, I'm a Safdie fanatic. And Josh Safdie, he pulled it off. I think everything just worked for me. And I was just like very engrossed in how it was executed. And there's a lot of stuff that I was just like, whoa, I can't believe they did that. Or there's stuff I don't want to spoil, but yeah, just in terms of execution, it's so well done. Like the score is like one of my favorites of the year. And of course we're getting like the typical Safdie stuff where it's just is engrossing, just like over the top, engaging, just stressful ride throughout. And this kind of taps into like similar elements like After Hours, I found, where this is a character who's just relentless and he'll just keep going. And I mean, After Hours is definitely similar to Good Time as well. But I found that this also has that same kind of vibe where it's a character who's just relentless and he'll just keep going. And the film just keeps going kind of like a few steps ahead of him. Like he's just struggling to get what he wants, and the film is just like, no, this is gonna happen. And it's a film that is interesting because it doesn't feel like it's like rooted in reality, but I find that even cooler. Like if you watch the film, you might know what I mean, where there's stuff in it that just kind of happens, or characters will just kind of say stuff that's like, what? And it feels, I mean, Josh Safdie himself called this like a cosmic film. There's that kind of element in, and I mean, that's what I love about their films. Like Uncut Gems has this very sense of like everything happening in the film, and with Marty Supreme as well. This is the same thing too, where it's just the stuff is like the events and stuff is kind of like almost feels like fate, or it just feels like it's bound to happen, or it feels like it's kind of the events feel out of control for these characters, and it gives like the cosmic sense is put into that, where you're just like it feels like these characters can't get out of it. And I think the character of Marty is definitely an interesting character. I'm very interested in like the discourse behind it, just because there's a lot of people with different takes on it as well. I think a lot of people were more affected by the marketing, or more what was coming up to the actual film, that when the film delivered what it did, people might have felt a little bit more disappointed or underwhelmed with what the film actually brought. But I feel like for me, I kind of separated like the marketing as its thing and the film as its own thing, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing to do, but I feel like the marketing was good, but I can understand why people would have thought the movie would be similar to it, or would have brought similar elements. But it's a film that people are talking about. I think that's interesting. It's always a good sign when someone makes a film where it's just like people have a lot of stuff to say, have a lot of opinions. And I'm not saying there's like a typical right or wrong. It's interesting to see people's interpretations on Marty as a character, because he is someone who is like an anti-hero. Like he's someone that you shouldn't be rooting for, but there's something about it, like with his passion and just his drive, where you kind of just root for him throughout. And it's an interesting character that's pulled off greatly by Timothée Chalamet. He's playing someone who is, on paper, an unlikable person, but there's something with his performance, and as well the way the film showcases it, where you're just like entranced by the energy, and you also see how people around him are affected by his energy. And I thought that was really cool, like the way the film brings into the energy of Marty Mauser. And yeah, it's just a film that I'll keep thinking about. Just love it. Number 1, this is probably expected, but it's going to be one battle after another. PTA, you are the man, bro. Bro, you did this one. Congrats to you. No, this feels like his filmography has just been building up to this point. Like, in terms of style and scope, this feels like it's a culmination of what he's been doing. Like, we're getting Like in his earlier films, you're getting this fast, frenetic, more loose style, like with Boogie Nights, maybe Magnolia. But then later in his filmography, he's going for a more methodical, slower paced, kind of just really honing in on a couple characters rather than multiple, like Phantom Thread. But yeah, this is kind of a culmination. It's a great blend of both, where we're getting this like relentless, frenetic energy that is energetic. It is exaggerated, it is over the top, but it really stays true to building these characters and the characters throughout the film. Performances are great. They're so good. Especially Sean Penn, who plays like the best villain ever. This is a film that's also like super funny too, but it has so many great moments. And Johnny Greenwood's score, oh, so good. When they're driving over the hills, it's also a film that has very interesting themes that you can there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack with this film. And the way it handles these kind of political themes, and it's a very relevant film that tackles issues that is relevant to today, but it doesn't do it in a like, this is what's happening and it's depressing. There is a very hopeful tone to this film. It's showing these rebellious people, and it's really honing into like what they support and why they support it. And it's very rooted in community and family, and it leaves the film on a very hopeful tone that, if done differently, or just showing kind of just these are stuff that's happening in the world and it's bad, it would have been completely different. And I think that's why I really, really, really love this film. Yeah, the top three films, they all kind of leave on a interesting and different note, but in the end, it feels hopeful. And I think that's good. That's going to be my top 15.